All right, happy Monday. So last week, I think it was on last Tuesday, December 2nd, the Supreme Court heard oral argument in a case called First Choice v. Platkin. First Choice is a company that runs pregnancy crisis centers, which is essentially anti-abortion groups that put themselves out there as assisting women who want to get an abortion, and they try to prevent those women from getting an abortion, putting the kid up for adoption or whatever. Platkin is the Attorney General for the state of New Jersey. Arguing before the court on behalf of First Choice was a woman named Erin Hawley, E-R-I-N, Hawley. Her husband is Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who apparently was present for the oral argument in this case. The case is about First Amendment objections to subpoenas. First Choice received a subpoena from the Attorney General for the state of New Jersey, who said he's simply engaging in the regular course of business and enforcing consumer protection laws. First Choice challenged that subpoena and said that they were being targeted for ideological reasons because they're an anti-abortion group. And Attorney Hawley, Erin Hawley, the case is kind of tangentially about abortion, but Erin Hawley is comparing pregnancy crisis centers in 2025 to the NAACP in the 1950s, fighting subpoenas from the FBI and the DOJ to disclose their membership lists, fearing that their members would be targeted by the FBI and the DOJ. And at that time, they had good reason to fear that kind of thing. But she's trying to turn this into some kind of huge civil rights case. But I wanted to talk about her a little bit. So she's an attorney for this organization called Alliance Defending Freedom, which is a very right-wing, hard-right, evangelical, anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ organization. Interestingly, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, in an earlier life, was an attorney working for Alliance Defending Freedom. But she was instrumental in bringing the Dobbs case before the Supreme Court, which overturned Roe versus Wade. She was instrumental in a case involving a plaintiff, 303 Creative, which I think was about, being compelled to build websites for gay people or some shit like that. So this organization has very dim views of women and members of the LGBTQ community. The Southern Poverty Law Center has designated Alliance Defending Freedom as an anti-LGBTQ hate group. And people who have been associated with Alliance Defending Freedom or have worked for Alliance Defending Freedom or have worked on behalf of or in conjunction with include people like Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, Mike Pence, former Vice President, former Attorney General Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, and of course, Josh Hawley. The Alliance Defending Freedom and Erin Hawley in particular was instrumental. She led the fight to get a district court judge in Texas named Matthew Kacsmaryk. She filed a case in front of him a couple of years ago that resulted in Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk issuing a nationwide injunction against the distribution or sale of abortion-related medication, mifepristone, which has any number of other uses as well, including related to treating miscarriages. But Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk is the district court judge for the Northern District of Texas. I believe his courtroom is located in Amarillo, Texas. I think he's the only judge in that district. It's a very, very small district. And people like Erin Hawley, when they want to get the ruling that they want to get, they file those kinds of cases in front of Judge Kacsmaryk, who I think accurately could be lumped in as being very right-wing, evangelical, anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ, white Christian nationalist kind of guy. He's just the guy. He's just the kind of guy that you want on the bench. And he was appointed to the bench in 2019 by Donald Trump when he was 42 years old, lifetime appointment. He's 47 or 48 now. But for the 5 years before being appointed to the bench, Judge Kacsmaryk worked for the very conservative evangelical First Liberty Institute as an attorney doing these kinds of cases. So these people are all connected through these shadowy organizations. Erin Hawley is also reportedly on the short list for Donald Trump to be appointed to be an appellate court judge. Interestingly, right before this hearing started in the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts announced that there was a group of people there to be sworn in to practice before the Supreme Court, because that's kind of like its own separate thing. Even if you're an attorney licensed in whatever state, if you're going to practice in the federal court, you have to get licensed to practice in those individual federal courts, and that includes the Supreme Court. This group of people who was sworn in right before this hearing started was a group of trans attorneys from the Trans Bar Association. And so I imagine it was quite a thing to hear Chief Justice Roberts announce from the bench that there was a group of trans attorneys that he was about to swear in to practice before the U.S. Supreme Court, and then he had to swear those individuals in, which I think just that alone is a significant act of resistance, making Judge Roberts jump through that hoop, while Justices Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett sit there and watch a group of trans attorneys get sworn in immediately before they hear oral argument, comparing, a group of trans attorneys whose civil rights are violated every single fucking day in this country, including by this administration in ways that we can only imagine. And then Erin Hawley gets up and argues that crisis pregnancy centers are having their civil rights violated by the Attorney General from New Jersey because he sent them a subpoena. And Erin Hawley comparing the struggles of black people and the NAACP during the Jim Crow laws in the South in the 1950s, comparing that struggle to the struggle of crisis pregnancy centers in the United States of America in 2025. So I just thought, I read something about that case, and I just thought it would be a good opportunity to sort of name all of these people and their organizations and how they're all connected to one another, and how they seek out, people like Erin Hawley seek out cases related to abortion medication, and cases where she can further chip away at the rights of LGBTQ people. I think it's worth highlighting that. So enjoy the rest of your day.